It's that time of the week once again where another film has flopped, and people are desperately looking for someone or something to blame for it. The Marvels has misfired with just $47 million in its opening weekend, which is in fact the worst debut in MCU history. This number comes in under what were already pretty low estimates. So it's time for the apologists to spin the wheel of blame and figure out how they're going to remove all accountability away from Marvel Studios. Let's discuss.
I watch so you don't have to.
All I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.
I want to make something very clear because there seems to be some confusion about whether or not people are celebrating this film's failure. When it comes right down to it, I do not have a personal connection to this film, or any film for that matter. Whether a movie succeeds or fails means absolutely nothing as it pertains to how I feel about the quality of that film. There have been numerous projects over the years that have set box office records, and I wouldn't bother giving those movies a second look because they just weren't that memorable to me. So in the grand scheme of things, we all understand that box office does not always go hand in hand with a film's quality. But what box office is a good representation of is the general public's interest in said film.
That makes sense.
There are some films that will defy the odds, come out of nowhere, and ride great word of mouth right to success. There are other films, like most of the superhero films that came out this year, that have absolutely no buzz and people try to manufacture fake hype for them, and this typically results in failure. When it comes right down to it, nobody really cared about this film. The truth is that The Marvels was set up for failure the moment that Disney gave it the green light. You are releasing a below average film featuring characters that hold zero pop culture significance, in an era where audiences are already growing tired of the comic book movie genre. How did you think that was going to turn out?
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for them.
You see, when Marvel Studios went ahead with this project, they were under the assumption that they could put in minimal effort and people would still show up out of loyalty or obligation just because Marvel Studios was above the title. But that's just simply not the case anymore. Now, you have to do something to make your film stand out. You have to do something to make your film feel special. And Marvel Studios didn't bother to do that because their past success has made them lazy and complacent. Success actually made some of their fan base lazy and complacent. The smart ones checked out after Endgame, or even sooner, like myself, but some people are still holding on to the idea that the MCU hasn't missed a beat.
You serious?
Because they are very desperate to like everything that's under the Marvel Studios banner for some unknown reason. This is why they try to convince themselves and others that these more recent MCU projects are either misunderstood or unnecessarily hated, but those of us that are not still wearing their fan goggles know that that's not the case. We know that the MCU has taken a massive dip in quality lately, and it's finally starting to catch up with them. And that's why The Marvels has flopped, because the writing has been on the wall for a while now, and people by and large have lost interest in the subpar content they are creating. But that hasn't stopped people from looking for something else to blame. Anything to deflect attention away from Marvel Studios' failures. The one excuse we knew they would go to first was the old toxic, misogynistic fan theory.
You're pathetically predictable.
According to some, there are men that organize hate campaigns against films with female leads because they hate women so much. Forget the fact that we've all seen evidence to the contrary of men going out to support female-led films that deserve our support. Barbie doesn't break records this year without a considerable amount of male moviegoers going out to support it. And let's not forget the original Wonder Woman film that was regarded as a massive W for DC upon its release. It was one of the few DC films released somewhat recently that wasn't all that divisive, mostly because people liked the character and enjoyed the fact that she was getting a proper adaptation that she deserved. So where were these misogynistic hate campaigns then to stunt these movies' success? Oh, that's right, we only apply that flawed logic when it benefits our argument.
It's true.
Calling someone misogynistic for not liking the Marvels is nothing more than deflection, and we all know that. Write better characters and make better movies, and your film will get the respect that it deserves. Something interesting has been happening over the past couple of days, and I thought I'd bring it up because it's relevant to the conversation. A surprising amount of female moviegoers, who would seemingly be this movie's target audience, have been expressing their somewhat underwhelmed reactions to this film. And it got me thinking, are they all haters too? Do they hate women as well? Or is it possible that Marvel doesn't understand the audience they are desperately trying to please? I would venture a guess and say that a majority of the females who enjoyed the MCU initially enjoyed it for the same reasons that a lot of us did. For Marvel and Disney to suggest that they need to change things in order to please them always comes off as more insulting to me than anything. I'm going to say again that most people don't need to be catered to in order for them to enjoy a film.
Surely you can't be serious.
I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
The strike is the one excuse that I hear more than any of them. I have a post or tweet from Alden Diaz that says, quote, "Anyone reporting on the Marvel's box office that doesn't mention the fact that the stars were on strike and unable to promote it at all is incomplete and irresponsible at best. Promotional materials have immense value. That stuff helps build movie-going experiences now." I would love for one person to show me any hard evidence that the cast for a movie doing interviews has any real impact on that film's box office. You can't show me any evidence of that because it doesn't exist. What we do have evidence of is a film like Five Nights at Freddy's, which was operating under the same promotional restrictions, and that movie overperformed recently and became the highest grossing horror movie of the year.
Is everybody paying attention?
So the apologists are going to sit there and tell me that the cinematic juggernaut that is the MCU needed Brie Larson out on the road promoting it in order for it to be a success. The same MCU that, again, used to attract audiences no matter what they did. You could literally set your watch to audiences showing up to an MCU film to support it. Is it all possible that this brand has been damaged by the more recent lackluster content associated with it? I will never accept the strike as a viable excuse for why this film failed. I assure you that this film most likely would have still underperformed even if it was properly promoted. Because the problem isn't with the promotion, it's with the quality of the thing they are promoting. But of course, to some, the Marvels is just getting a raw deal, and it had the unfortunate luck of being released during the wrong time. I'm sorry, but I'm calling bull on that one.
Tell me when I'm telling lies!
Marvel Studios focuses on everything with their content now except quality control, something that they used to be a lot better at. Again, I take no pleasure in a film failing. I have no dog in this race, and nobody involved is paying my bills. But if another terrible movie flopping sends a message to the studio that people want better films and we ultimately get better films out of this, then that's a win for everyone. Regardless of what some people may think, I do not hate Marvel. I rightfully criticize Marvel because they've done everything in their power to earn that criticism. I want them to prove me wrong, but they don't seem to have any interest in fixing the real problems. And maybe, just maybe, the Marvels failing will be Marvel Studios' wake-up call. A wake-up call to stop making shows and films about characters that nobody cares about, and a wake-up call to focus on quality over quantity. Bottom line, we need to stop being so accepting of mediocrity or worse, and a majority of people shunning the Marvels is the first major step into doing just that.
Y'all be cool. Right on.